This is SMG Hangouts. I'm your host, Mike Valente, and I am hanging out with Amira de Vera, who is a PR professional, the founder of Project 4 PR here in Toronto. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Are you excited?
I'm so excited.
You seem excited.
I am. This is very cool. I'm on the other side.
That's
Usually
right.
I'm behind the scenes.
Exactly.
So this is cool.
Exactly. So tell us about your kind of early beginnings in the PR world, some of your first experiences.
Right. Well, it's funny because I actually didn't intend to go to PR. I was a graduate of political science, and I was, under the impression I was going to work for the government.
Right.
When that didn't work out, I ended up interning for a PR firm, and this was about 9 years ago. And Instagram wasn't even a thing yet.
Right.
Blogs were just kind of starting out. So it was very cool to kind of be in the birth of, Instagram and the rise of bloggers. I feel like PR has really become much more, not complicated, but, there's more outlets out there to reach out to, whereas it used to be just print, broadcast, and all those kinds of traditional media.
Right.
So my early beginnings in PR was a lot of learning, a lot of exploring the online world as it grew. So that was very, very interesting for sure.
For sure. Can you talk to us a bit about the types of people you represent?
Yeah, so I represent talent. So anywhere from actors, musicians, to TV personalities. Really, I focus specifically on talent representation, that's my number one passion. I love representing people.
And the differences between agency PR compared to in-house or corporate PR, maybe walk us through that. And how do you kind of find people interested in PR? How do they find what's right for them? What type of public relations?
Well, in-house PR, you're representing only one organization, so you're working specifically for one company. Whereas with a smaller agency or even medium-sized agency, you're really representing a multitude of companies or a multitude of different brands and organizations. So you kind of get a hand of different, different lifestyles or different industries that you can reach out to different types of medias out to.
Right.
But with in-house, you're kind of just you're just specifically speaking out for that organization. And how do you know if one is right for you or not? I mean, like anything, you have to try it out.
Right.
I tried both. I went, I was in a smaller agency, but then I also tried corporate PR. Ended up loving the smaller agency side of things better, because I just felt like there was more creativity. But I mean, it's different for everyone. So I would say just you have to try both in order to figure out what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And now having your own agency,
Yeah.
which is, I can see the smile on your face, obviously very exciting.
Yes.
Maybe just, I'm sure every day is different and there's
Yeah.
a lot of variety of what you do, but some of your key responsibilities.
So essentially, my main responsibility is to get publicity out for my clients. So really, it's reaching out to media, letting them know about a specific project that my clients are promoting, and getting them featured in those specific types of media. So whether it's a magazine feature or a magazine interview, or something like this,
Right.
Or something on TV or radio, that's really my 95% of what I do is that. And the other 5% I would say is just overall branding, making sure that their name is constantly out there. I mean, there's so much content out there. Like, how do you stand out? How do you differentiate yourself from others?
Right.
Really, my job is to help them with that, whether it's volunteering for a charity that they love to keep their name out there, or partnering with specific companies to endorse their brands.
Right.
So it's really fun. It's different every day, but that's kind of like the main responsibility that I have.
For sure. For younger people watching, maybe just out of school, that are interested in public relations, what's a piece of advice that you think that they should know?
I would say research. Do a lot of research, and also know what you're getting yourself into. I think a lot of the times when people think of PR, they see the glamour, they see all the fun parties and events that PR professionals get to go to.
Of course.
But it's a lot of hard work.
Yes.
It's a lot of behind the scenes things that people don't see. And also be prepared to put in a lot of hours. So just know that in the back of your mind that you're going to have to work a lot of hours and work really hard.
Yeah.
But also, again, do your research. I feel like learn about the media landscape in whatever city you're in, and really get to know the different types of media that are out there, because that's who you're going to be communicating with, 95% of the time.
And like any job, a lot of it is who you know.
Yes.
But certainly you need to have the passion for whatever job you're working in or whatever career you're working in, and really have that drive to make an impact. So when you're potentially dealing with a potential employer, how do you kind of sell yourself?
Right.
To, really make them trust you that, okay, this girl knows what she's doing,
Yeah.
right?
Again, back to the research thing, I would say, like really get to know who the potential employer is. Go on their website, do your research on them, look up specific campaigns that, maybe you were very impressed with. And then when you reach out to them, at least, you can point out those specific things that you researched and say, hey, I really love how you did that campaign. I feel like this is something that I, would have loved to work on. Here is what I would have contributed.
Right.
So really get to know who they are and make sure that you kind of give a little bit of what you can offer on the table. So whether it's like saying that, oh, I could probably help with the Instagram side of things, like you're always offering something. I think that is very impressive because a lot of the times when people are reaching out, they're just reaching out with their resume. They just want the job, but they're not really offering their unique talent that they can offer for the company.
Yeah.
So research.
When you started your agency, was that like really daunting, or was this something like, okay, no, I realize that this is something I have to do, so I'm going to pursue it? You know
what? It was funny because when I always said I would make a great employee, or I make a great employee, I would never be good at being an entrepreneur. And I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe just fear. But I was actually pushed into starting my own company because when I left my last job, there wasn't anything else lined up for me. So I started freelancing for different clients, and then they just kind of kept coming through the door.
Right.
And so, for me, it gave me the confidence to be like, oh, okay, people actually want to work with me. I can do this. So, when I started my company, I already had a client list, so it wasn't as scary as, someone who's starting from scratch. And plus, I've been in the industry for almost a decade, so I feel like I had the contacts in the media. I had, I've networked for the last 10 years, so I feel like I wasn't starting from scratch. So I always say, if you want to become an entrepreneur, try and get experience within your field first, because starting your own business won't be as scary as starting from scratch.
Yeah, and having to learn absolutely everything.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the online side of things, like with social media, how conscious are you of that every day? Kind of trying to build your brand, right?
Well, it's funny because when I walked in here, I was like, someone has to film me while we're doing this. I can post about it. But I mean, you have to be conscious of your brand, especially now when there's so much content is out there. So how do you stand out from everybody else? And plus, this is kind of what I do for a living, so I feel like I have to, be my own advertisement for that. So I think for me, the number one thing with being conscious of your online presence and just your social media brand is really pick the top 3 things that you're very passionate about. Like, what are those 3 things? And focus on those 3 things in terms of what you're posting and putting out there. Because if if you're just posting random things, people are not gonna, they're not gonna respond to it. People want authenticity. They want to see you having fun with your social media, but also putting something out there that's consistent and true to yourself. But also be conscious of putting content that is engaging. I think people want to be able to, relate to your content and comment on it or like give feedback or whatever. So I always say when you have an online presence, make sure it's like a community engaging type of presence so that you're able to talk to other people about it, because that's what this online world is. It's just people communicating with each other, right?
Yeah, I think you want to create content where your viewers or your followers can actually actively participate.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And I think that's very important with how you grow your following, because that's how you will grow it.
There you go.
Getting people to engage with you. So
for sure.
Yeah, so it's very important and be consistent.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes people will post, something for like a week straight and then like they're gone for a month.
Yeah.
So just always be conscious of that consistency.
There you go. Yeah. Well, we appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for coming on our show. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
There you go. Amira de Vera, everybody, from Project 4 PR.